Okay, I'm gonna get this started a little early. Well, earlier than that thing up there says. Good morning, everybody. Stop that music. I am. You know how it is when you're late sometimes. Oh, no, this music's still going. Anyway, hi, happy Tuesday. It's a lovely morning here in the Twin Cities, bright and sunny, and which is good because a couple nights ago, we had massive thunderstorms and it took down a bunch of trees in my neighborhood. Thankfully, none of mine. But anyway, I've got a lot to get through. So since I'm already late, let's just get this thing going. How about we play the intro? Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night.
Alrighty then, let's get it going. Good morning, everybody. Stop the music. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where withdrawal is sometimes necessary, but we're not sure why this time. I guess we're going to find out pretty soon. Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday, the 30th of August, 2022. And I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I'm here. All right, let's just get it going, because I got a lot to do. I got a lot of things to touch on, and if I don't start now, it's never going to get done. So first, let's say good morning to everybody in the chat. First in the chat today is Maddie, who gets the bell. Thank you so much. Good morning also, Ty. Oh, excuse me. Good morning to Tyrannus Alexandrius Invictus Soul. I don't know why I use that late now. It's kind of funny. Also, good morning, Avocado Diablo, the Devil's Advocate, my favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies in the house. Good morning, Austin Man Squatch, Simon Wolfwood, Rotten Corpse, Abominable Nation. Who else is here? Let's see as I scroll down here. Lord Stanhope, Chicago Mike, what's up? Good morning to Attack Alpaca. Good morning, Aaron Meredith Nomad.
Stop. Hammer time.
And that's just Mike Savage again. So anyway, we're gonna get into it now because by the way, I'm sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. I do have my cup of coffee though, and in the Mississippi Headwaters Cup from the origin of the Mississippi River, which is up in northern Minnesota at Itasca State Park. You can walk right through you can walk from one side of the river right through the water to the other side of the river, because it's only about I'm going to say 25-30 feet wide at the headwaters, and it is the origin of the Mississippi River. That river winds up around Itasca, goes north at first and then starts heading south and goes all the way to New Orleans. So if you got on a canoe at Itasca, you could make it all the way to New Orleans. You'd have to hit some lock and dams and shit, but still, it goes all the way from there. Anyway, and Jay Pylon's in the house. Nice to see you. So let's start. First of all, I'm going to give you the Kiwi Farms Keffels update, at least my version of it. Now, I know a lot of you don't care about this, and in fact, I have an analogy. About the dust up between Keffels and the people who post on Kiwi Farms about Keffels, and the owner of Kiwi Farms, who Keffels trying to get his site completely removed from the internet and from history, although he's a couple steps ahead of her. So, oh my God, this person is. Okay, anyway, I'll get to this. Let me give you an analogy of this Keffels Kiwi Farm thing. and I haven't quite perfected this. I might write this down on Twitter, but the Careful Kiwis Farm dust up is very much like ads for anal porn. Wait a minute. We'll get there. Here's how, and let me explain this. The Keffel's Kiwi Farm dust up is like advertising for anal porn, because you know, you might see the ads and maybe you might even get curious after a while and actually click on the anal porn, and you'd watch a little bit of it and you go, you know, eventually you just get tired of looking at assholes. I'm sorry. These people are all assholes, and I don't give a shit. But God dang it, it shows up in my feed every frickin' day. So anyway, thank you, Carnivore Dad. Wow. Thank you for dropping a big a deuce times 10 in the tip jar. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. With no message. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. But thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. Okay, so anyway. Have you been checking my internet history? No, I haven't. But anyway. So, yeah, sometimes you just get tired of looking at assholes. And these people are all assholes. I mean, the Kiwi Farm people... Well, look, here's the thing about Kiwi Farms. I've never been on Kiwi Farms in my life before the last couple of days. Now I've gone on there and kind of seen what it's about. Basically, it's just a forum where people shit on people who do shitty things. And Keffels is certainly a shitty person who does lots of shitty things. And so the people on Kiwi Farm have this thread, and they just keep posting, basically, the thing is, they post shit. It's kind of like libs of TikTok. They kind of post shit that people put on the internet, and then those people on the internet are seeing themselves in the mirror and realizing how shitty they are, but don't want to admit how shitty they are. Well, that's Keffels. Keffels is a shitty person. But also, these people at Kiwi Farms are kind of shitty because they're just fucking with this Keffels person, and Keffels is fighting back, and that's the whole thing. But they can, if they all fell, Kiwi Farms is like watching villains fight. Granted, one of them is worse than the other, but there's still two villains fight. It's like, anyone remember Mad Magazine? And they had. There's a cartoon in Mad Magazine that was a regular feature called Spy versus Spy, right? And they had the black spy and the white spy, and they had the same. They looked exactly the same, and they were constantly blowing each other up and trying to kill each other and shit. That's the same as Keffels and Kiwi Farms to me. They're all villains, but they're all assholes. But anyway, so now apparently I've been blocked by Keffels, but I did save this tweet because I responded to this, and she tweeted, a Kiwi Farms user has identified my location in Ireland and threatened to show up at my address at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I've already found out their name and forwarded their information to the police. We need to get this website down. It encourages criminal behavior. Now, it's weird because they don't encourage criminal behavior. It's just a posting forum. It's just a forum, and people do whatever the fuck they want on that forum. And it's stupid, and it's whatever. But I thought about this, and wait a minute. See, because Keffels has a full out campaign to get Kiwi Farms removed from the internet, right? Trying to take it down, and going to great lengths and employing all 45 or 30,000 of her followers to try to do this and basically brigade this side of the internet. Which, look, a lot of people have Kiwi Farms threads, right? A lot of people, sometimes they say good things about people, sometimes they say bad things about people, but sometimes, it might be smarter just to shut the fuck up. Because here's the thing. So apparently someone has doxed her location on Kiwi Farms, right? Now, I was thinking about that and I was like, wait a minute. This person's trying to get people in trouble by what? Bringing attention to what they post on Kiwi Farms, right? So there's a big Streisand effect, right? Because I would have never gone on Kiwi Farms had I not watched this stupid battle go on for, it's been almost 2 weeks now, where I'm seeing this shit almost every day, right? And I was thinking, wait a minute, this is kind of why would you confirm my location in Ireland while supposedly hiding in fear? And what did the police in Ireland, and I don't think they call them police in Ireland. Mike, what do they call police in Ireland? They don't carry guns and shit in Ireland either. But anyway, now, when you say, okay, I've already reported their information to the police, so you've contacted the police about this in Ireland, and I wonder, what did those police advise? Or maybe I don't know what police she contacted. Why, first of all, did the police tell you to post on a giant internet forum that they have correctly identified where you were located? And if they've done that, where would they have done it? Oh, on Kiwi Farms. So you're just kind of inviting people to go look on Kiwi Farms while you're trying to get it down, because you are trying to do this with one purpose, to get a sympathy brigade to go after Kiwi Farms, the owner of Kiwi Farms, which doesn't post this stuff. It's just the people on his site do this. Now, there's the whole. It's just like I said. It doesn't make sense. It's a circle of assholes, and they're, like I said, I don't think there's any good assholes in this particular fight. So anyway, that's what's going on with Kiwi Farms. If you are interested, you can follow this Twitter thread that's just going on and on and on. Yeah, you got to respect that despite this. Okay, hang on. This is the top tweets about this. And then I'm gonna move on. I'm saying this because I've realized I've been fucking had for 3 days now. Keffels versus Jai is being intentionally and artificially boosted to distract from drop Kiwi Farms, and it's working. I'm going to try and stay on target and hope everyone else does too. So this person really wants to stick with this drop Kiwi Farms because they hate Kiwi Farms. So Keffels, what she's been doing, this trans woman Keffels, or trans whatever you want to call Keffels, Keffels is, because Keffels is a target because she's claiming that Kiwi Farms is anti-trans hate site and it's causing trans people to kill themselves, right? And then she used one example of some guy who faked his death a couple of years ago, and as the main example, but saying that because the Kiwi Farms people hate Keffels, now Keffels is a shitty person too. Keffels is one of these people who tries to help underage kids get hormones and shit like that, and she's a terrible person. But anyway, but she's using the trans hammer. She's attempting to use the trans hammer to get Kiwi Farms taken off the internet. So, and it's just funny to watch. It's really weird. It's really weird. Boy, a lot of people have been posting about this. With everything going on for Claire, I want to stress that the best way we are to help Keffels with being doxxed again is by being calm and trusting Claire and Ellen will handle this and you'll be safe. Whatever that means. Someone here, as with most alt-right grifters and harassment campaigners, that's another way to get people off there. If you can label them as alt-right. Oh, these are alt-right grifters. If they lost their Twitter account, their entire scheme would be irreparably damaged, if not outright destroyed. Why? They're not on Twitter doing this. They're doing this on Kiwi Farms. Despite the performative whining, no one needs Twitter as desperately as the right-wing scum who decry it. Oh, well. Ooh. if you're trying to paint Keffels as a racist right now, you're part of the problem. No exceptions. No, I don't care if you think you have a good point or not. There's some people accusing Keffels of being racist too. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so and Liz Fong Jones. This is one of those people too who's really, really trying to get Kiwi farms off the internet. I'm curious how far the Cloudflare CEO's commitment to free speech goes, and whether he might hypothetically happily allow Cloudflare services to someone posting overt threats to sexually assault and murder him, as is happening right now to Keffels. Look, I don't take internet threats seriously. Maybe that's my own problem, but Keffels is a litmus test for the type of people that are glued to their computer screens and won't live to see the light of day. They're past 30. If you like her, it's safe to assume you won't make it in life. I don't know what the fuck that means. Keffels is a litmus test for leftists. If somebody don't like her, you might as well just disregard them outright, because they're soon reveal themselves to be far more reactionary and fascist enabling than they let on. There's a lot of leftists that don't like Keffels either. I don't know. I'm done with this. Let's move on. But before I do, thank you, Maddie, for sponsoring the show. Oh, I forgot. Did I say? I meant to say that Carnivore Dad, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. And again, thanks for the 20 spot. Also, thank you, Maddie, for sponsoring the show. I should put some music on for Maddie's here. Thank you for putting 5 spot in the tip jar. Who says, she doesn't know you're not supposed to feed the trolls. She's fed them to the point it's ridiculous. Woman needs to chill and go touch grass. Yeah, exactly. She is... she, he, it, whatever. They, them, it's, thou... Monkey Wrench is absolutely feeding the trolls in order to get them to do nastier and nastier things. Again, like I said, I am getting tired of looking at assholes. So that might be my last Keffels mention for the rest of the month. unless something really wild happens. So anyway. Thank you, Maddie, again for sponsoring the show. All right, let's move on. How about some news? Now, the name of my stream today is, looks familiar. Well, that's because there was some news yesterday that really looked familiar. And I was like, oh, what the hell's going on here? This is some breaking news that was yesterday. Apparently, in Iraq, the presidential palace was stormed. The U.S. embassy helicopter and the U.S. Embassy was evacuated by helicopter. And I am like, let me just remind you, I'm a 70s kid, okay? And when I remember when the U.S. Embassy in Iran was evacuated and the palace was stormed and whatever. The Iraq presidential palace was stormed by angry protesters on Monday, while the U.S. Embassy was evacuated by helicopter in a scene reminiscent of the last days of Vietnam. Here's a video of our embassy chaos from Baghdad's fortified green zone. So this is had some people on here. And you see this happened like in the middle of the day yesterday. The U.S. Embassy, there's a helicopter there. The pad there, they're evacuating people from there. And I was like, in Iraq. Did I say Iraq or Iraq? I said Iraq. Hello, Big Dro. What's up? So anyway, this is not telling anything. It's hard to see anyway. But anyway, initial reports. Oh shit. Fix this. I want to stop the video. There we go. Initial reports are that the helicopters were ordered in and staff ordered out when rioters breached the zone. I also saw a report that one person had been shot and killed, but no clear clue whether they were American staff or a rioter. That's pretty much all we know so far about the situation at the embassy. This marks the Biden administration's second humiliating bug out from an Islamic country in just over a year. 13 Americans were killed in Kabul during President Joe Biden's botched retreat from Afghanistan roughly just over a year ago. So no one has any details of what's happening in Iraq. Here's a riot inside the presidential palace. You know, this looks almost like an insurrection. Anyway, security forces fired tear gas at protesters at the entrance of the heavily fortified government zone as dozens of young men hurled stones at each other in street battles. Gunfire was heard in central Baghdad, reporters said, apparently from weapons being fired in the air. Shocking footage from inside the palace showed scuffles breaking out between protesters and baton-wielding cops wearing bulletproof vests. The riots broke out following a permanent resignation from politics. We'll see just how long that really lasts. Of the influential Shia cleric Muqtada al-Sadr, I don't know. For good measure, he previously withdrew his plurality party from parliament. The caretaker government of Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi was already weak and essentially powerless. So what's going on in Iraq? Well, a word would say Iran is happening in Iraq. Al-Sadar's statement appears to be a reaction the retirement of Shiite spiritual leader Ayatollah Karim al-Ahiri, who counts many of al-Sadar's supporters as followers. Al-Ahiri said he would be retiring as religious authority and called on his followers to support Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, seen as a blow to al-Sadr. At first glance, the chaos in Iraq looks something like a semi-legal coup backed by Iran. At the very least, it's a political chaos engineered by local forces friendly to Iran. So I'm sure we're going to learn more about this in the coming days. But, everything old is new again, right? And I ran so far away. I saw that, Lord Stanhope. Oh, good morning, infamous one, Anna Lynn, by the way. Also select a boy.
Yeah, boy.
And Reaccion Puerto Rico is in the house. We just landed M1 Abrams. We just handed M1 Abrams to Sunni militias because the Iraqi army just ran. Oh, good Lord. Great. Oh, Trippy's here too. How you doing, Trippy Liberty? All right. Nice to see y'all. All right, let's move on. Also, in the everything old is new again. Oh, no, this is different. So remember how the mayor of New York and the mayors of Washington, D.C. are very upset that the Texans, is it just Texas? I think it's just Texas right now. They're sending some of these migrants, not a lot of them, just a small portion of the migrants. They're busing them to New York City and Washington, D.C. And, complaining about that. And so, but the Biden administration is a little bit critical of that. But then we find out recently that the Biden administration is the one paying to bus the illegal migrants to New York City. This is hilarious. The federal government is paying to bus illegal migrants from one border town to New York City. A Texas official told the Daily Caller News Foundation the city government of El Paso, Texas, is busing illegal migrants to the Big Apple on the dime of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, also known as FEMA. Deputy City Manager Mario D'Agostino told the DNCF, that's the Daily Caller News Foundation, Monday. The federal agency covers the travel cost of illegal migrants through a grant program. So this is a federal grant that they're using to send the migrants to New York City. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But remember, because what's her name? Karine Jean-Pierre was criticizing the state of Texas to sending these people to New York City. And but the federal government is the one paying for it. So if that's fascinating, the travel costs for migrants are covered through FEMA's emergency food and shelter grant. The city OEM submits for reimbursement on a quarterly basis as the process dictates, with the goal to provide for the safety of the migrants from elements and to preserve the community's transitory hospitality shelter capacity so they may continue to serve our homeless community. OEM, Office of Emergency Management, has sponsored and provided transportation services for the migrants out of El Paso, which is reimbursable through FEMA. So, and it's funny because Democratic New York City Mayor Eric Adams and the White House have both criticized Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott for busing illegal migrants to his city and to Washington, D.C., with Adams accusing Abbott of using migrants as political pawns. Well, the U.S. federal government's paying for it, so maybe the White House should probably check into that. Anyway, I just think it's hilarious. It's hilarious. They did that. All right, let's see. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Jethro Hedder's in the house. How you doing? Cloud World is going Cloud World. It's amazing. I've seen it firsthand in California last year. Buses and buses of illegals in Barstow, California at Super 8. Trans housing, is that a park that identifies as a building? Yes, absolutely. All right, let me move on. And speaking of what we're spending on helping these people to come here legally, apparently Democrats are demanding an extra $50 million for food for illegal immigrants. Amidst ongoing food supply chain issues and shortages in the U.S. House. Wait, what? And shortages in the U.S. House Democrats introduced a bill that would designate an extra $50 million for food programs for migrants and an additional baseline, in addition to the baseline, $150 million. So they want to raise our spending on illegal or people coming into our country illegally to $200 million. And the bill, H.R. 8725, was sponsored by Representative Eleanor Norton, a Democrat representing the District of Columbia, on August 16th, and has since been referred to the Committee on Appropriations. If enacted, the proposal would provide supplemental appropriations for the Emergency Food and Shelter Program, which is how they're paying for the buses, to provide humanitarian relief for migrants and for other purposes, according to the bill's text. Well, if they want to send more to D.C., that's fine. They'll have more money to do it. This is not passed yet, but her bill appears to apply specifically to migrants who come into contact with DHS as opposed to including American citizens. Under the Biden White House, illegal immigration in the U.S. has skyrocketed, with many migrants attempting to enter the U.S. via the porous southern border. Okay, that's just editorial, more of the story. But anyway, so, hey, if they can get that extra $50 million, they can rent a lot more buses. All right, let's move on. Obama era. Now speaking, here's some more. Everything is old is new again. What did I call? That's not the name of the stream. What did I call the stream? Hang on a second. I can't even remember. The name of the stream is looks familiar. Oh, that's right. It's looks familiar. Well, here's another thing that is looks familiar. Remember when the Tea Party was kind of targeted by the IRS? They some of the Tea Party groups are trying to get tax exempt status, and Lois Lerner from the IRS was fucking with them and wouldn't process their applications and caused all sorts of trouble, right? And there was a big scandal in the Obama administration. Well, Obama-era Tea Party targeter appointed to create IRS office overseeing 87,000 new agents. Now, is it agents or employees? I can't remember. It might be agents they're trying to hire. Anyway, Nicole Flax worked under Lois Lerner in the Obama administration IRS, while the agency infamously targeted conservative political organizations such as the Tea Party by slow-walking and suppressing their tax-exempt applications. She was one of 7 executives whose hard drives mysteriously self-destructed, preventing the House investigators from viewing her emails. Now, the career IRS executive has been tapped to establish a new centralized office in charge of implementing the Democrats' latest tax and spending bill, including oversight of the 87,000 new IRS agents the bill authorizes. What could possibly go wrong. Hello, Tyler F. IRS Commissioner Charles Redding sent an agency-wide email on August 19th writing, "This is a historic time for the IRS." I'm sorry. I need to find a moment of zen here for a minute. This is a historic time for the IRS, and we are working to move quickly to begin work on the Inflation Reduction Act signed into law earlier this week. How the actual living fuck can the IRS work on the Inflation Reduction Act? Oh, this is 87,000 new agents is going to help reduce inflation. He then announced the new department. A key part of our efforts will be the creation of a new centralized office for implementation of all IRS-related provisions, building off our successes implementing other major legislative bills. The IRA 2022 Transformation and Implementation Office will work across the IRS and oversee our implementation efforts. Wow, that's a bowl of gobbledygook. Redding revealed that Nicole Flax, current Deputy Commissioner in charge of the Large Business and International Division, would be tasked with building a new centralized office. We have a unique and once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform the IRS with all our weapons and bullets in a way to help taxpayers and fundamentally improve our tax administration work that is vital to the success of our country. Oh God! If you really want to. Oh wait, what's this? Flax has been with the IRS since way back in the Obama days. Our More at WorldNet Daily reminds us that in May 2014, the Treasury Department's Inspector General and Tax Administration concluded in a report that the IRS delayed the processing of applications for tax-exempt status by certain conservative groups and sought private information that was later deemed unnecessary. Yeah, so this is another case. So remember, the House there was a point at the time when the House was controlled by Republicans, and one of the oversight committees was asking for information from these IRS agents, right? And so they asked for evidence of their email servers or whatever, and mysteriously, the ones they asked for all just happened to be destroyed. Kind of like, speaking of everything old being new again, kind of like with what's her name? The one who ran for president. What's that? Kankles? What's her name? Hillary Clinton. It's just standard operating procedure for these people if you're a Democrat or Democrat friend of Democrats, to be able to just destroy things when they're supposed to be under investigation. It's amazing. Pete Knight changed the name of the stream to Assholes. Assholes everywhere. And I'm tired of seeing them. Yes, I could very well do that. They will reduce inflation by taking all your money away, so there is less money. Oh, that's spot on, Lord Stanhope. And they are going to sacrifice all our money to Moloch for a better harvest. That's pretty much it. Oh, these fucking people. Anyway, shall we move on? Speaking of which, also another Biden appointment, or another person that is going to be in control of your life. Or excuse me, this is not one in control of your life. This is one, well, in a way, speaking of bad appointments, Joe Biden's new intelligence board chief, Jeremy Bash, called Hunter's laptop Russian disinformation. A national security lawyer tapped by President Joe Biden to lead his intelligence advisory board was one of the 50 former intelligence officials to claim in an open letter that the October 2020 publication of Hunter Biden's emails appeared to be part of a Russian information operation. Gannon Hotep, what's up, brother? Good morning. Jeremy Bash served in several roles during the Obama administration, including CIA Chief of Staff, Defense Department Chief of Staff, and House Intelligence Committee Chief Counsel. He currently serves as the Managing Director of Beacon Global Strategies and as an advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Bash also contributed to, oh God, this disqualifies him immediately. He also contributed to This is CNN and MSNBC during the Trump administration. So, and what's he being appointed to? The Intelligence Advisory Board. So, well, let's see if it says what the Intelligence Advisory Board does. Let's see. After the New York Post published emails obtained from Hunter Biden's laptop, Bash signed on to a letter claiming that the release has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. Oh, and then Bash doubled down on the claims in a letter during an October 19, 2020 appearance on MSNBC. Quote, "This looks like a Russian oh, here it is. This is him right here. Here he is.
His closing message is not remotely close, Jeremy Bash, to what Claire is suggesting. It's around leading lock her up chants about Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who was the victim of exactly what John Heilman described, and suggesting somehow that Joe Biden is a corrupt politician, one of the most vetted politicians in this country. You alluded.
Nicole Wallace, you dirty whore. Joe Biden, one of the most vetted politicians in the history of the country. Vetted how? Oh, you mean when he told those people he was the smartest man on the planet and had 3 degrees and was the top of his law school class, the only one to get a scholarship and blah, 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 when he was really at the bottom of his class, had 1 degree and barely made it through school. I am just, Nicole Wallace, you're so full of shit. Anyway, let's see what his answer is.
To the
she didn't ask the question.
Being pointed at Joe Biden. Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we need to talk about it, Nicole. This looks like Russian intelligence. This walks like Russian intelligence. This talks like Russian intelligence. This effort by Rudy Giuliani and the New York Post and Steve Bannon to cook up supposed dirt on Joe Biden looks like a classic Russian playbook disinformation campaign.
Oh, yes, it's definitely
recount
Russian.
Exactly what happened. In July of 2019, when President Trump talked to Zelensky, he said, talk to Rudy Giuliani. He's my guy on trying to dig up false dirt on Joe Biden. Then Giuliani goes to Kiev in December of 2019 and meets with Andrei Derkach, who is the Ukrainian lawmaker with known ties to Russia.
Shut up! We got it. This is your new Intelligence Advisory Board. He's going to lead the Intelligence Advisory Board. Ooh, lucky us. Shall we move on? All right, let's see. What is this one? I got a bunch of stuff today. Well, first of all, I don't care. I'm not going to subscribe. Oh, this dumbass, Senator Lindsey Graham. I want to go through this because he said something really stupid on the other day. In fact, speaking of the Tea Party, y'all remember, if you're old enough to remember the old Tea Party days, Tea Party, went out and protested. They had thousands and thousands of people out protesting in different parts of the country. And every single time the Tea Parties protested, that was it. They protested. They didn't break shit. They didn't get into fights. They didn't yell at anybody. They just got out. Well, they yelled a little bit, but they didn't hurt anybody. They didn't punch anybody. Nobody got punched. Nobody got trampled. Nobody got beat up. In fact, Tea Party protest, during the protest, you'd see the protest, but when the protest was done, you'd never know it was there because they even cleaned up after themselves. You ever see a leftist protest? How much shit they leave all over the place? Tea Parties, they would clean up after themselves. It was like nobody even was there. Anyway, every time Lindsey Graham tries to work his way back into the conservative fold, he blurts out something in a way that hurts not just Graham, but all Republicans. For his long history in the U.S. Senate, Graham has reliably been the Republicans' answer to foot-in-his-mouth Joe Biden, and that Biden's sound-alike contest winner has just done it again. Given Graham's frequent attacks of Bidenitis, it should be should not be surprising that Graham blew the roof off the January 6th issue by publicly claiming that Republicans are ready to take street action. If President Trump's indicted, he said on Fox News, there will be riots in the streets. Really? Now, I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, for 18 months, Republicans have been trying to persuade America of one simple fact regarding the January 6th, 21 storming of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Riots are for the progressive left, not for the more reasonable, law-abiding Republicans. We may have been making some progress in turning America's attitudes around about January 6th. It's hard to tell because the polls are so often left-leaning that the results are questionable. Still, Republicans have a track record of respectful, legal, constitutional advocacy for solidly conservative positions with regard to the government. However, thanks to Lindsey Graham, the lid is now off. He just legitimized the antithetical idea that Republicans do take to the streets with violence and hatred. Remember the Tea Party? I just said this. That's funny. Hi, Rick Ashbringer. Rick Ashbringer. Rick, how you doing, bud? Remember the Tea Party, and especially the Tea Party Express? Hundreds of thousands of conservatives from across the country staged peaceful protests and broke no laws. There were no arrests, and Tea Partiers left no public mess. Literally, they cleaned up after themselves. More important, they took reasonable, logical positions on potentially divisive issues known to the larger public and do without arrests, violence, or property destruction, let alone human injuries or deaths. Even despite the liberal media's desire to avoid reporting anything positive about the Tea Party, the word got out that Republicans and conservatives respected the spirit of the laws and the Constitution. All that can be now consigned to the dustbin of history thanks to the senior senator from South Carolina. And here's what he said. Quote, most Republicans, including me, believe when it comes to Trump, there's no law. It's all about getting him, Graham said on Trey Gowdy's program on Fox News Sunday night in America. There's a double standard when it comes to Trump. What happened with Hunter Biden is that the FBI weighed in to make sure the story didn't break before the 2020 election. We now have whistleblowers at the FBI. Senator Chuck Grassley said they were told to slow down and back off Hunter Biden. I'll say this. If there's a prosecution of Donald Trump for mishandling classified information after the Clinton debacle, there'll be riots in the streets. Wow! Where did that come from? From the FBI and Hunter Biden to riots in the streets. Who knew? Graham has offered a blazing inducement for progressive liberal state attorneys generals to step up to the plate and indict Trump before the midterms, confident that this will incite conservatives to riot in the streets, a riot that will hand the House and Senate back to the Democrats. So anyway, it's a pretty good foot and mouth by dumbass Lindsey Graham. What's this? Should I vote for Fetterman or Oz? Wow, I don't know. Okay, somebody answer Big Joe. Everyone answer Big Joe in the chat. Should he vote for Fetterman or Oz? I don't know. I don't think you're getting much different either one. Although Oz may be slightly more sane. All right. We already talked about this a couple days ago. Mar-a-Lago feds did seize some privileged Trump documents. A new court filing confirms. On Saturday, August 27th, Judge Aileen M. Cannon issued a preliminary order stating her preliminary intent to appoint a special master, but giving the government a chance to file opposition to the motion, although a response was not due until tomorrow. This morning, the feds filed a notice of receipt of preliminary order, which provided in part let's see, here's some of the things. The government also will review the materials obtained pursuant to the search warrant and coordinate with the case team and privilege review team wanted to submit as directed by the preliminary order a sealed supplemental filing containing a more detailed receipt of property seized pursuant to the search warrant approved on August 5th, as well as particularized notice indicating the status of the United States review of the seized property, including any filter reviews conducted by the privilege review team and any dissemination of materials beyond the privilege review team. Here's the thing. Here's the main part that's important. And this is in this section. Although the government will provide the court more detail in its forthcoming supplemental filing, the government notes that before the court issued its preliminary order, and in accordance with the judicially authorized search warrants provision, the privilege review team, as described in paragraph 81 to 84 of the search warrant affidavit, quote, identified a limited set of materials that potentially contain attorney-client privileged information. So they're admitting they took shit that they probably shouldn't have. And then it completed its review of those materials, which they shouldn't have been seeing anyway, and is in the process of following the procedure set forth in paragraph 84, blah, 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 blah. And then later, let's see, reference to paragraph warrant affidavit providing privilege team. So anyway, the horse is out of the barn. And again, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, or last week when this happened. Trump's lawyers dropped the ball here. That request for a special master should have happened immediately after the raid, because now they've had weeks to already look through these materials, and the judge gave them up till August 27th, gave them till a couple days ago, Saturday. Excuse me. It's too late. They've already had a chance to go through the shit, so they're all up in Trump's butthole right now. Speaking of which, I'm tired of looking at assholes. Hello, Swirly. Good morning. If you just got here and don't know what I'm talking about with the tired of looking at assholes joke, you got to go back and watch the beginning of the show. Let's see what else. Lee Smith. Oh. This is something else I said before. Someone named Lee Smith is a columnist and author of The Plot Against the President, true story of how Congressman Devin Nunes uncovered the biggest political scandal in U.S. history, said colleagues and peers of his whose judgment he trusts speculate that the FBI's raid of former President Donald Trump's private residence at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach was a search for documents related to its Russiagate surveillance operation of the 45th president. Remember what I said, you know what? I wonder how much of that so-called classified information, or that may have been declassified by the president because he wanted to make public all this Russiagate bullshit, and it would have made the FBI and several public officials look very, very bad. I said, yeah, I bet he has a bunch of that shit in his basement. That's about what probably the stuff that they wanted to get out of there, so before he could basically make them look as bad as they are. Well, this guy continues, I think the best way to understand this is in the context of a 6-year-long operation targeting Donald Trump aides, and Donald Trump supporters, Smith said on Sirius XM's Breitbart News Sunday with host Joel Pollak. I have different colleagues and people whose insight and whose wisdom I trust very much, and they believe that what the FBI was looking for were documents related to what the FBI called the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. But what most of the rest of us know as the Russiagate operation meant to target candidate Trump, then President-elect Trump, and then President Donald Trump. Smith said the people whose speculation he was relaying have much more insight and much more knowledge about the FBI operations than he. He also noted that many of the FBI agents organizing the raid on Mar-a-Lago have been involved in the FBI's ostensible investigation of Trump for years. He recalled a report from Real Clear Investigations titled FBI Unit Leading Mar-a-Lago Probe earlier ran discredited Trump-Russia investigation. He said political observers should view the FBI's raid of Mar-a-Lago as part of something that started in the spring and summer of 2016, or perhaps earlier. He added this was an effort to get Donald Trump. So what I had speculated a while ago, this person also speculates they were trying to get some of those Crossfire Hurricane documents. Yeah, but they tried this shit with Romney and will do it with any other Republican that runs, period. Trump just had the audacity to fight back. I agree with you, Infamous One. But because that's the shit that they do. Anyway. Here's some good economic news. 3.8 million renters likely to be evicted in the next 2 months. Oh boy. As pandemic eviction moratoriums expire, and rent payment relief programs end across the U.S., a rental crisis is beginning to crest. About 8.5 million people are behind on rent as of the end of August, according to the Census Bureau data. Of those renters, around 3.8 million say they are somewhat or very likely to be evicted over the next 2 months. Meanwhile, rents continue to tick up and topped $2,000 a month in June for the first time on record. Before the pandemic, rents have increased by almost 25% and 15% in just the past year, according to Zillow. Evictions are spiking in major cities across the country as well. In Tampa, Florida, evictions were 52% above average in August, according to the eviction lab at Princeton University. In Houston, they were 90% above average. And in Minneapolis, St. Paul, they were 94% above average. Oh my gosh. Fortunately, I'm not renting. Let's see. It's my daughter. My daughter rents, but they've already signed a new lease, so they're not getting evicted. Anyway, with the eviction moratoriums ending, many delinquent tenants are finding themselves in a tight spot. Still, some landlords are breathing a sigh of relief after months of housing people who stopped paying a long time ago. You know, I could have sworn. And is it just me? Is it just me? But aren't we in the greatest economy ever? According to Joe Biden. Oh my gosh. All right, what else we got? The Federal Reserve is going to be launching a new instant payment service. I wonder what this is about. The Federal Reserve announced Monday the launch of an instant payment service in the summer of 2023. FedNow, which the central bank has been developing for the past several years, is intended as a flexible, neutral platform that supports a broad variety of instant payments such that consumers can immediately send money through their financial institutions. To who? According to a description from the central bank. Federal Reserve Vice Chair Lael Brainerd said during a speech to developers that FedNow will transform the way everyday payments are made throughout the economy. Immediate availability of funds could be especially important for households managing their finances paycheck to paycheck or small businesses with cash flow constraints. Oh, so they're building a system. Because right now, sometimes when you send money, say, for example, you do a transfer from your bank and you transfer to someone else's bank and then the funds are not available right away or whatever. They're trying to set up a system where you can get your funds available. Having the capacity to manage money in real time could help households avoid costly late payment fees or free up working capital for small businesses and financial growth. So apparently, is this new? I mean, this is a part of killing cash. Yeah, in a way. And so they can track transactions. I'm not surprised. But they're also doing this with crypto though. Like for example, what is that? There's a crypto program called Tornado Cash that can kind of disguise where your crypto. It masks crypto transactions, right? And they've made it illegal in some places. And they've been arresting some people who came up with the system. Anyway, among other examples, FedNow is set to eliminate merchants' need to wait 1 to 3 days before payments are finished depositing, as well as the need for workers to wait days before receiving payments. So here on this though, look, they're already tracking these kinds of payments, right? So all they're doing is making these electronic transfers available immediately. Like for example, when I transfer money into I have 2 accounts and I transfer money from one account, or say you transfer money from PayPal and you have to wait like 3 days or whatever, sometimes for it to actually be available in your account. Apparently, this system they're building will make it happen faster. I don't know. The move comes as the central bank also considers the creation of a central bank digital currency. Oh, that would work as an alternative to other digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, which are virtual coins protected from counterfeiting via encryption, and stablecoins, which attempt to peg themselves to another asset such as gold or dollar. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell told lawmakers last year he had no desire to hasten the project. So their own central bank digital currency? Ugh. Oh, run away. All right, let's move on. So there's some Democrats who are, remember we read a couple Democrats who are against this student loan debt cancellation. Well, there's more. Former Clinton administration advisor Paul Begala opposed a plan from President Biden to cancel up to $10,000 in student loan debt for most borrowers. That's a shocker. During a CNN segment in State of the Union, Begala, who now works as a CNN pundit and a professor at Georgetown University, called the student debt cancellation bad policy as well as bad politics. Well, some are starting to figure it out. It's like, why do I have to pay for your loser kid's, sociology degree while he's working at Starbucks? I'm sorry. Why? Why? During a segment, let's see. For that amount of money, you could fund free pre-K for every 3 and 4-year-old for 10 years, Begala explained. You would do a lot more good for poor people, communities of color, and underprivileged by doing pre-K. You could forgive all medical debt, which, unlike student debt, is not freely entered into. Oh my God, who is this guy? No, I don't think you should do that either. I think you just, how about just not spend it at all? God, if I were king of the United States of America, the next 4 years, Congress would not be allowed to pass another bill that isn't accompanied by repealing 3 laws. So you can write a law, but for every law you write, you have to repeal 3 laws. Yeah. Because there's a lot of laws that are really stupid. Anyway, wow. So Paul Begala's against it. There's more and more coming out of the woodworks. I'm sure there's a couple more in there. Monkeypox outbreak seems to slow as cases fall in major cities. Survey shows gay men are now cutting back on sexual activity to avoid the virus. Well, that's a good thing. There appears to be some good news related to the monkeypox outbreak. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention announced that the case numbers have fallen in several major cities. We're watching this with caution, optimism, and really hopeful that many of our harm reduction messages, as in stop fucking, and our vaccines are getting out there and working. Director Rochelle Walensky told reporters Friday during an update on the monkeypox outbreak. No, people figured out that how you get monkeypox, and they're cutting back on the casual activity that causes monkeypox. And good. I don't want our gay community brothers and sisters, well, brothers, because I'm not hearing about a lot of lesbians getting it, but I would like them to stop getting monkeypox and taking chances on spreading it even more. So good. People are figuring out the word on monkeypox. I don't think I need to read anything about that. Let's do the lightning round because we're almost out of time. Kamala Harris's bail-backed fund puts a murder on the street. Vice President called for donations to the Minnesota Freedom Fund amid George Floyd riots. Well, the bail fund, championed by Ms. Harris, helped free a repeat felon now charged with murder. Yay! The Minnesota Freedom Fund on Thursday acknowledged it helped secure the release of Sean Michael Tillman, who in May shot and killed a passenger on a rail platform in St. Paul. Harris promoted the Freedom Fund on Twitter during the George Floyd riots in 2020, helping the group raise $35 million in a matter of weeks, according to the Washington Post. Here's the problem, too. See, because of the nonprofit status of the Minnesota Freedom Fund, they had to spend the money. So there have been, and since there weren't enough rioters that were even held on bail because the local district attorneys let them out, they have to use the money. So now they're just paying people's bail willy-nilly. And this one did not work out so well. Tillman's criminal record includes multiple counts of indecent exposure as well as assault and unlawful possession of a firearm. Court records show he's now in custody with bail set at $2 million. When reached for comment, the Freedom Fund directed the Washington Free Beacon to its statement, which is not listed here. Tillman's most recent felony conviction was in November 2018 for indecent exposure in the presence of a minor. He had 7 prior counts of indecent exposure at the time. Susanna Orozco and Dara said the convictions play into their decision to fund those charged with crimes. They did not list any of Tillman's past convictions. So anyway, he's accused of murder. He may have murdered somebody. So good. Well done, Minnesota Freedom Fund. Oh, this is a happy story. Let me come back. I'll save that one for last because I want to make sure I'll get it in, but I'll actually read that one. Apparently, critical race theory, anti-racist math pollutes Kentucky school district teacher training materials. Jason Anger and Daniel Buck at Chalkboard Review discovered that the Jefferson County Public Schools in Kentucky used critical race theory and anti-racism language in its teacher training material. Now, you know what I hate about this type of story? Because every time you hear anti-racism language, well, I don't mind if it was just anti-racism language, but if you understood what anti-racism is versus, and this is the dichotomy of not being racist versus being anti-racist. Anti-racist is a buzzword, okay? That sounds really good, but really stands for, well, it's kind of like social affirmative action. It's very much like that. So employees of the school district went through a racial equity institute in July. When you hear the word equity, what do? Chat? Run. Our Racial Equity Institute is taking place tomorrow. The keynote speaker is Tracy Mikhail Lewis Giggets, and there will be over 25 sessions to choose from. Let's see. Dr. Julie Chandra, Atherton High School's assistant principal, didn't even shy away from her objective. Her presentation, Racial Equity Work at Your Majority White Faculty. Oh my God. I'm going to link out some of these, but here, right there in black and white, critical race theory. Chancellor even cites books towards critical race theory of education and the article towards critical theory of whiteness. So it's a whiteness presentation. Thank goodness. Let's see. One slide includes a quote from author Bell Hooks, she doesn't capitalize her name, reminding white people, even the liberals, they're white supremacists. When liberal whites fail to understand how they can and or do embody white supremacist values and beliefs, even though they may not embrace racism as prejudice or domination, especially domination that involves coercive control, they cannot recognize the ways their actions support and affirm the very structure of racist domination and oppression they wish to see eradicated. Yes, white people in my chat, you are oppressing me right now. Bell Hooks chose not to capitalize her name because she wanted to place focus on her work rather than her name, on her ideas rather than her personality. Well, when you don't capitalize your name, you're actually drawing more attention to your name, not less, because most people capitalize their name and they don't even think about it. It's their name. That just means your name. But now you got Bell Hooks with no capital letters, which makes go, why the fuck did you capitalize letters? Oh, well, that's drawing attention to your name. And then you get to ask, well, why don't you get more? You get what I mean? You get more attention. Anyway. Oh boy. Oh gosh, they got this. So this is although I thought schools didn't teach critical race theory, I thought it didn't exist in schools, but here's their I don't know if it's the slides or what. What you need to know first: implicit bias rating, critical race theory, whiteness theory, historical causes of inequity, cultural proficiency continuum. I don't need oh my God. Racism is so pervasive in structures of society, it's almost invisible. White experience should not be considered the norm. Racism affects education specifically. Historical causes of inequity: slavery, Dred Scott decision, Plessy Ferguson decision, anti-voting policies, redlining, school segregation, hate groups, unequal access to opportunities. Okay, something in this century, please. Something in this century, please. Because, I mean, never mind. That's right. It's historical cause of inequity. So how about now? What do you think it is? I don't know. Whiteness theory. White people view society and norms through white lens. Whiteness is power. All others are necessarily inferior. White norms and experience is normal. All others have normal. Whiteness invisible to whites but obvious to non-whites, white values and interests entrenched in society. Whiteness cannot be separated from the historical violence that created it. Oh, good. Anyway, so if you want to get more deep into that, I did leave this is the PDF or something, Google Drive doc that they used, and if you want to study their why white people are bad and why you and I, who are darker of melanin concentrations, are oppressed. I'm sure that part of the presentation, at least the slides for the presentation, will be very informative to you. All right, let me snap through this so I can get to that last one that I really wanted to get to. Black Americans file federal lawsuit against New York City for a law allowing foreign nationals to vote. So the city council in New York City are allowing voted to allow foreign nationals vote in their city elections. I think for like school board and citywide elections, right? And some brothers and sisters have said, hey, not so fast, motherfuckers. A handful of Black Americans residing in New York City have filed a federal lawsuit against the city's Board of Elections for a local law that would allow nearly 1 million foreign nationals to vote in citywide elections. Now, New York City has a lot of foreign nationals because a lot of people visit there on visas and whatever, and they go to the schools and blah, 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 blah. But some of the brothers and sisters in New York City said, hey, not so fast. 4 Black Americans, Phyllis Coachman, DeRoy Murdoch, Catherine James, and Anthony Gilhoys, represented by the Public Interest Legal Foundation, have now filed a lawsuit in federal court that mimics their lawsuit filed in New York State, which challenges the law on the grounds that it violates the 15th Amendment and the Voting Rights Act. Racial discrimination, the latest lawsuit alleges, is behind the New York City laws that seeks to dilute the votes of Black Americans by adding hundreds of thousands of Hispanic and Asian immigrants to the voting rolls. Now, not immigrants. Well, not American, because if they were American citizens, they would be able to vote. They're allowing foreign nationals to vote in their city elections. Local Law 11 violates the 15th Amendment and Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act because it was adopted with impermissible racial intent. It was the explicit intent of the law's sponsors to increase the voting strength of certain racial subgroups, which simultaneously decrease the voting strength of other racial subgroups. Okay, I think they're might be barking up the wrong tree here. What it should be is that they're just U.S. citizens and don't have a stake in the game should be voting in your elections. Anyway, but good. Fight that bullshit. I don't care. If you're not a citizen, you shouldn't be voting. Okay. Did anyone see this video of Jill Biden pulling Joe away from reporters? I never watched the whole video, so let's just watch this. This is weird. You got to admit this is weird. Here's Joe Biden. He's talking to reporters, and watch what Jill Biden does. He's talking, and she just pulled him away. And I don't know why. Is she making him social distance, or what was she doing there? Have you ever seen that kind of shit before? Look at this. He's talking to reporters, and she just pulls him back. Maybe she's afraid he's going to get COVID a third time in the next month. Who knows? Anyway. All right. I get to travel from Canada to vote in New York. Fantastic. Well, I think, though, they have a residency requirement. You have to be living there, but still, you're a foreign national, and you can vote in their elections? I don't understand that. Whatever. Anyway. All right. The other article is Kamala fails again. The National Space Council chairwoman's big day was ruined as the Menace launch was postponed due to engine trouble. So that launch that failed yesterday, apparently this was supposed to be a big day for Kamala Harris because she was going to be out there front and center on behalf of the Biden administration and take pictures and talk and give a speech and shit. And then they didn't launch the damn thing in the first place. Well, you know why, y'all know why they didn't launch yesterday, right? So remember how they said, they're going to have, this is going to be a flight where women and people of color are going to be able to go to the moon for the first time in history. These will be the first women and people of color to go by the moon, right? Well, the reason they didn't launch is because the pilot, the woman, forgot to get gas the night before. Oh! Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. I know. Sorry, ladies. You know, there was a penis-shaped object she didn't put in her mouth. Avocados diabli. That was precious. Anyway, Beto works at the hospital. He's been hospitalized in Texas. He canceled his campaign events. Let's see. I'll just read the highlights. Beto O'Rourke, the Democratic Party's nominee for the Texas gubernatorial election, was hospitalized for a bacterial infection and has since been discharged, according to Politico. O'Rourke announced on Twitter that he'd be back on the road as soon as I'm able. This comes as O'Rourke, running against two-term incumbent Republican Governor Greg Abbott, trails in the polls by 6.8 points, according to Real Clear Politics. So apparently he's already out of the hospital. I don't have any ill will towards Beto O'Rourke. I just think he's a dumb shit. And so the faster that election's over, the happier I'll be. All right, we don't need that. Moving on. Okay, I'm out of time. Well, that's okay. I'm going to finish this. So that hospital in Boston, that has done surgeries, trans surgeries on minors. They claim they haven't, even though they have. But here's the president and CEO of Boston Children's Hospital is doubling down on his hospital's policy of offering transgender surgeries to underage children, according to emails obtained by independent journalist Chris Elston, also known as Billboard Chris, who I'm going to have on my show one of these days. Boston Children's Hospital came under fire in August when publicly available videos circulated in which the hospital advertised gender-affirming hysterectomies for underage children. The hospital also offered vaginoplasties, otherwise known as design of vagina, vaginoplasties to underage girls as young as 17, a policy they reversed after receiving the backlash. An analysis from the Daily Caller News Foundation found that doctors performed 65 chest surgeries on transgender minors between 2017 and 2020. So under 18, because I've been adamant about it. Well, we don't do this for underage children. Okay, 17 in the United States is pretty much a minor anywhere you go, and they were doing it for his kid as young as 15. We stand firmly by our commitment to provide the best care for those who need it and reaffirm our longstanding commitment to the LGBTQ plus community and to healthy equity and inclusion. Health, equity, and inclusion. There's that. When you see the word equity, run. So let's see. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Anyway, if you want to read the letter, though, it'll be here in the article. You can just click on the link here and it'll show you the article. I'm not going to go through it now, but the email blamed a highly politicized environment for what the hospital claims are false allegations made about the hospital's policy concerning transgender surgery for minors. Unfortunately, there will be those who continue to mislead the public about the high quality and safe care we provide. Yeah, cutting shit off of perfectly healthy children's bodies. Yeah, that's what did they just say? Call it about the high quality and safe care we provide. Brilliant. Boston Children's Hospital did not respond to the Daily Caller's request for comment. So anyway, you want to see that letter. But the California Assembly passed a bill that makes the state a transgender refuge for kids and parents. So those kids in Washington state who can get gender-affirming care at age 13 and up without their parents' permission can have refuge in California. The California State Assembly passed a bill on Monday that seeks to establish the state as a sanctuary for children seeking. Oh, this is for other states that you can't get transgender care without your parents' permission at 13. Seeking transgender medical treatment, as well as parents who wish to put their children through such procedures. This is evil. I'm sorry. You can't make life-changing, permanent life decisions. Honestly, you should not do this before 25 until your brain's done developing. But 18 is at least the legal age. And these people, oh my God. I hate these people. The legislation, SB 107, appears to be in part pushed through as a response to other states taking action to limit the ability of parents to subject their children to transgender medical treatment. The bill's author, State Senator Scott Weiner, this is the guy who proposed and got the bill passed that knowingly having sexual contact when you have AIDS with another person and that transmit AIDS to them is no longer a felony but a misdemeanor. That's the guy who wrote the bill, Scott Weiner in California. Quote, the assembly just passed our trans state refuge bill, so trans kids and their families can come to California if they're being criminalized. States like Texas are classifying gender-affirming care as child abuse and threatening to incarcerate parents. California won't stand by. I think they're not talking about incarcerating parents, but doctors. California must stand with LGBTQ kids and their families, especially when they're under attack across the country, Weiner said when the bill passed at the Assembly Appropriations Committee. SB 107 ensures that California is a refuge state for trans kids and their parents, so they can be safe here. Parents should never be separated from their kids or criminalized for simply allowing them to be who they are. That's an ironic statement. That's an ironic statement. Letting them be who they are. Naturally or unnaturally, we need to hold firm our support for the LGBTQ community and stand with LGBTQ. I'm sorry, the science, which is very limited, but more robust in other countries where we're learning about this, and they're stopping some of these procedures because they're realizing that it's basically you're experimenting on kids. Wood chippers. All right. No whites allowed. Pfizer fellowship flagrantly violates the law. The Breakthrough Fellowship prohibits whites and Asians from... Oh, we did this one the other day. I guess they're just finding this out. So Pfizer has a... what is it? They have a prestigious fellowship that bars whites and Asians from applying. Trumpeted on the company's website as a bold move to create a workplace for all. Civil rights lawyers are characterizing it in a different way, as a blatant violation of law. So they have a fellowship that whites and Asians are not allowed to apply. If you want to read about it, it'll be in the article. Now, here's the feel-good story I want to finish with because we should finish on a happy note. Oregon Safeway employee deemed heroic after attempting to disarm gunman who killed 2 and injured 2, according to police. 66-year-old Safeway employee who was killed in a shooting Sunday night. Well, it's not a feel-good story, but they decided he's a hero. At one of the chain supermarkets in Bend, Oregon, has been hailed as a hero after attempting to disarm the gunman, which authorities said likely prevented more deaths. Donald Ray Surratt Jr. also of Bend attacked the 20-year-old shooter near the rear of the store in the produce section after the gunman had fired several rounds from a rifle, police said. Mr. Surratt acted heroically during the terrible incident. Bend PD communications manager Sheila Miller said Monday at a news conference. Deborah Jean Surratt, Donald's ex-wife, told the Associated Press in a phone interview that her former husband served as a combat engineer in the U.S. Army for 20 years. Although Surratt was never deployed in active combat zones, his ex-wife said he trained with other combat engineers to be the first ones to go into war and the last ones to come home. Authorities also identified the other victim during press conference. So at least they're hailing him a hero. It would have been nice if he had been armed and then he would have just shot the fucker. But apparently because he confronted the shooter, he apparently distracted enough to so he's distracted, so the authorities actually found him. Oh, they stopped. The guy ended up shooting himself too. So the guy shot himself and he was from self-inflicted gunshot wounds with an AR-15 style rifle.
You're a lying dog face punk.
And a shotgun close proximity to the shooter. In accordance, okay, they didn't name the mass shooter, but whatever. Anyway, good. At least they're giving this guy some props for trying to stop something really bad. All right, gang, I got to go. Thank y'all for joining me today at the Morning Night Live. It is it's Tuesday, so yeah, I'll be here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, or around that time. Please, if you haven't done so, hit the like button. There's 27 people here, but only 16 likes. Hit the like button before you go. And share the stream before, during, and after the show. That's always helpful. We've got nine new people that have come through and have subbed to the channel, so that's good. I'm working on some guests, Rakita, Billboard Chris, some other people, some gender critical peoples that I've been talking to, and we'll have those coming out over the coming weeks. That's it. Share the stream. You can sponsor the show at pdognight.live 24 hours a day. That is the Streamlabs prioritized chat link tip jar. YouTube super chats are also available. Venmo, Cash App in the description down below. And if you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section. It is time for me to go. Thanks for being here, everybody. My name is P Dog Night, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Night, and I'm out of here.